this is Steve Hines coming at you again. We're going to continue our blood pressure series here. This is December 27th of 2020. And again, no portion of this video should be considered giving medical advice or treatment or mitigation of disease condition. Now, there's another thing that is so epidemic in America and very rarely diagnosed, and has a huge part in why so many people have hypertension. And that is obstructive sleep apnea. Over the years, we have found a profound connection between obstructive sleep apnea and chronic fatigue. We find that nearly 100% of people who have strokes, very high percentage of people with atherosclerosis, people that have cognitive disorders like dementia and Alzheimer's, have obstructive sleep apnea. It's amazing how many people have it and don't know it. Or people that have been tested, have a sleep machine, a CPAP machine or a BiPAP machine, that they just don't like it, and so they'd rather not use it than suffer an uncomfortable night of sleep. So that it's a very big thing. They're definitely not fun. Although my partner in Mexico, when he got his CPAP machine, he became a new man. I mean, it absolutely changed his life. He says, "I love my CPAP machine." But I also want to tell you that many people who are on CPAP machines, who are still not thriving, or maybe they were thriving 10 years ago, but they're not now. We've got a lot of fancy CPAP machines now. And back in, 15 years ago, you set it at a pressure of 7 or pressure of 9 or 10 or 12. And that was it. Now we have these ones that are somewhat self-regulating. So you might set it from a range of 3 to 7 or 7 to 11 or 11 to 15. So they do adjust, but they adjust within a range, and they can't go past that range. So they can go down to a point and they go up to a point. So I have noticed this in the last couple of years. I've had people that were feeling bad, and I said, "Have you got apnea?" And they, "Oh yeah, I've been on my machine for 15 years. And I said, "Well, have you had it retested while you were actually on the machine?" And it's always no. Nobody's ever done it. So we have a device. It's a 24-hour sleep device. It's just a little wristwatch with a pulse oximeter and a little wire that goes to it. So we started having people wear this wristwatch, checking their oxygen levels and their pulse while they're sleeping. And we usually do it 2 nights in a row just to get a good average. And it's shocking how many people that are on a CPAP machine and their O2 sats are still dropping down way too low, in the 80s and sometimes in the 70s. And even though they're on a machine. And it's interesting because a lot of these people say, "I hate my machine. I feel like it's smothering me. I throw it off in the middle of the night because I just can't stand it." Well, now we're finding that a lot of it's because of Medicare rules that they would maybe monitor for the first 2 years, and then after the machine's paid for, then they don't monitor anymore. We had an interesting case recently where we had a gentleman who was suffering very bad. He said he hadn't been using his CPAP machine for a while because he felt like it was smothering. And so we contacted the monitoring company, and it was being monitored, but at least it was being logged. It wasn't being observed. So when I contacted the people, they pulled up the case and went, "Oh, wow, man, that's the machine is set wrong." And so this guy needed to be between 16 and 19. He was set at 9 to 12 or 13. So when he'd get up, the machine was pushing as far as it could, but it couldn't go over that limit. So as soon as we got them to reset the machine, the guy was absolutely a new guy. It just took him a few weeks to recover. So if you are on a CPAP machine or a BiPAP machine, ask your physician about validating that the setting is correct, which is best done by using an external device like the 24-hour pulse oximeters while you're actually on your CPAP machine. And you can do this at home. It's very simple to do. And validate that the thing is really set right, because if it's not, you actually do yourself more harm than you do good. So you're dying early if you don't have it. You're dying sooner if you do have it on. So check with your doctor, revalidate that the settings are proper. Otherwise, you might as well not be wearing a machine. Interesting, I had a coronavirus case not too long ago that was exquisitely treated with all kinds of antivirals, IV peroxide, ozone, IV silver, botanicals. I mean, there was no reason that this guy should still have the coronavirus, because it's very easy to treat, actually. So I intervened. He'd been sick for 2 weeks. He was no better. And so I asked him, I said, do you have any comorbidities? And he said, well, I'm hypertensive and I have high blood pressure, high blood sugar, and hypertension. So I said, have you ever been tested for obstructive sleep apnea? Yes, I have. I said, was it positive? Yes, it was. Are you wearing your machine? Not for 3 years. And so I said, okay, go with me on this. Go out in your barn, find the machine, wash it all out. It's probably got mold growing all over it and chicken poop. So he cleaned it up, put it on that night. Literally the next morning, he texted me, said, I'm back to normal. So people who are fighting the COVID virus that have an obstructive sleep apnea problem, they're gonna be very, very difficult cases, because they're already in an inflammatory process. Because if you're not exchanging gases well, then your CO2 is going to build up in your bloodstream. You're going to be hypoxic, meaning that the oxygen levels are low. This causes a shift in pH. Anytime you shift the pH in the human body, you're going to alter the binding affinity of many, many enzymes that are essential to run your metabolism. And you find the same thing with people with thyroid issues. If their thyroid is dysfunctional and their metabolic rate is too low, temperature is everything. We should be 98.6. I see people all the time that are 96.1, 96.2, 97, way, way below optimum. And we know from studies that thyroid binds to receptors perfectly at 98.6. So with a lower temperature, the structural changes between the receptor and the hormone, they don't fit like. It's like a key that doesn't fit the door. So pH affects metabolic function, as well as temperature affects metabolic function also. So run that by your doctor, and I'll see you again in the next segment of The Causes of Hypertension. I'm Steve Hines.